No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
Police!
Hello, I'm Caleb Creighton. I'm part of the Yale Black Men's Union. We messed up. But the first thing I want to do is read you the email that Yale students received. Listen to this. I write to inform you about an incident that occurred early this morning. Preliminary information is that Hamden police officers, responding to reports of an armed robbery, stopped a vehicle at the intersection of Argyle Street and Dixwell Avenue. A Yale police officer responded to a request for assistance from the Hamden police. A Hamden police officer and the Yale police officer both discharged their weapons, and a passenger in the vehicle was struck. Fortunately, the injuries are not life-threatening. That's it. That's it. Here's what really happened. Officers, without correct information, opened fire on two innocent people driving at night. That's what happened. That's not what they told us. I want to prove something. Raise your hand if you have ever driven or know somebody that's driven after 12 a.m. That's you. That's you. That's you. But now let's say it's okay to say you're in fear for your life. Let's think about what the previous speakers have told us up to this point. Up to this point, we go over the history of why police were formed. To catch runaway slaves, enslaved people. Who should be scared? The people of the police. The people, African Americans, should be afraid. I am so sorry to say that I do not know right now 10 Native Americans, because their people were killed.
Yes, they were.
Who should be afraid? The Native Americans. Now let's talk about how media is unfairly targeting brown people right now across the nation. Who should be afraid? Them. We are the ones that should be in fear of our lives. It's not them. That's not an excuse. But now let's say it is. Let's say that's an okay excuse as to why you can open fire. What happens if you fuck up on the job?
Right.
You're fired. You're fired. It doesn't matter where you work. You are fired. You're done. You mess up on the job, you're done. You're fired. That's it. But now let's say what happens in the circumstance of manslaughter where you accidentally kill someone. Where do you go? Jail. Jail. You go to jail. You get fired and you go to jail. That's what happens to every single one of us, but it doesn't happen to any police. That's a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. But now let's talk about the solutions. And here's what breaks my heart, is that there is a solution. The first solution, firing. But the second solution is policy. You cannot sue police officers. You cannot sue directly the officer that charged. You have to sue the overall system. And you know what happens then. We know what happens. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. You cannot sue that officer. They know the solution. The solution is accountability. But there is none. If you are never held accountable, why do you get better? You don't. You don't. If everybody passes a test, why do you study? You don't. It's accountability, and that's the problem. We have the solution, and it's not happening. That's why I'm so happy to see all of you out here, and I'm not stopping till it gets done. Thank you. Thank you all for being out. Thank the organizers for brought us here together today. And we're going to stay out until we get justice.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Next, I'm going to introduce Justin Farmer of the Legislative Council of Hamden.
Good evening. Unfortunately, today I can't speak to you as a councilman of Hamden, but I can speak to you as a Newhall resident, Justin Farmer. For the last year, I've spoken to the mayor, both mayors, the police departments, and told them about such an occurrence. Right now, I have to go back into my community and have the tough conversations. But this evening when I spoke with the mayor, he told me he would accommodate me for a half an hour tomorrow to speak on the issues. He told me he would accommodate me and allow me to be in the meetings with the NAACP and our church leaders. I'm not asking for accommodations.
That's right.
I'm asking for justice. What am I asking for?
Justice!
What am I asking for?
Justice!
Now, we've known we've had these issues.
Right.
And instead of taking responsibility, I've heard both police departments blame another police department.
Right.
All the police get trained at the same police academy.
Wow. Right.
This Hamden cop was a New Haven cop.
Right.
These Yale officers work in our New Haven community. We don't have a police department issue, but we have a policing issue.
Yeah.
And when I hear such things as community policing, but then I see individuals unwilling to stand with us, I question, what is community policing? The last couple of days, I haven't been able to sleep. I've been stressed. But to sit here right now, after I leave this rally, I have to go to town hall because our mayor has refused to pay bills. And we're going to shut off our fire station because he has refused to pay bills and refused to take responsibility. I'm here to tell you that we have to hold our leaders accountable, and I include myself. So it's great to be here today. It's great to be here tomorrow, but it is more than just showing up at these actions. It's showing up at town hall. It's showing up at these planning and zoning meetings. It's showing up at the police commission. It's showing up at the meetings for a civilian review board. It's showing up all the time. Stephanie was there in that one moment. In that one moment, her whole entire life has changed. I can't change what happened on that Tuesday. But for us to be able to heal and for us to be able to grow, we need accountability. We need a civilian review board, both in Hamden, both in New Haven. We need to hire actual chiefs, not acting chiefs, but actual chiefs, and there needs to be a transparent process, both for the New Haven police chief and the Hamden police chief. We need to have community meetings, and both the mayors, the police chiefs, and President Salave need to be there and held accountable by the community. They need to hear our outcries, and they need to explain to us how they will provide justice. I'll just end on this. To hear that Malik Jones was murdered 20-something years ago under the same circumstances and the same so-called leaders that have showed us action have not done anything to prevent this from happening again, I will not stand to be one of those leaders. And I urge you not to be one of those passive. I urge you not to be complicit with the state violence and action, whether it be in New Hallville, New Haven, Hamden, or here on this Yale campus. Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Next up to talk, we're going to hear from Jamar from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, an amazing community organizer.
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
Police!
So, yes, my name is Jamar, and I also work at the Yale Hospital in the cafe. So, this is just amazing what I'm seeing right now. It's like 3 times the crowd of what we had yesterday. You guys just give yourself a round of applause. Listen, I need you guys to keep coming. All right? This is not over. This is not over. We had to make a ruckus yesterday just so they could release the name of the Yale officer. They were trying to protect him. Who was protecting Stephanie and Paul?
No one.
They went right into a neighborhood they should have never been in and caused all this fucking nonsense. Excuse my language.
Right.
But seriously, there needs to be a demilitarization of the police.
Right. Right.
And one thing that Tony Harp said that really pissed me off, she said, "Oh, I wish all cops would be trained by New Haven." Did she not know that the Hamden cop was trained by New Haven?
Yeah. Tell him.
What? Why would you say that? And then we got the police chief who was sent to Israel to learn apartheid training.
Say it loud. Say that again.
Does that sound like safe?
No.
They're killing Palestinians over there.
Yes.
They're killing children over there.
Yes.
They're being taught to murder us.
Yes.
All ages.
Over there.
That could have been anyone. Yesterday, 2 days ago, that could have been anyone driving down the street at 4 a.m. Anyone. I know I go to the bar or something and I get out late. That could have been me. So we have to buckle down and keep the pressure on Yale. And it's an insult that the president wants to stay silent and want to hide behind his email. It's wrong. The pressure on Hamden. There's a CRB here. A great thing about New Haven. A CRB is in place. It's time that we work on that and make it so much efficient so we do not have to worry about this. Every cop must be held accountable. Fire killer cops. Jail killer cops.
Yeah.
No pay leave. It's just so despicable to hear them say that. The police chief from Hamden, well, the best I can do is put him on paid leave. No, you have the authority to fire him. We all know you have the authority to fire him. No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
Vanessa, can you come up, Vanessa? You and Jesus and Jeremy. Jeremy, how you guys? Jeremy here?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Next, we're gonna have a beautiful warrior sister, Amelia, talk to us.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
Where's Elm City Montessori School at? Is there anybody from Elm City Montessori School in this building right now? Out here, right now?
Yeah,
Woo! I see you! I am the Dean of Social Emotional Learning at Elm City Montessori School. I'm a mother of 2. I live in Fairhaven. Anybody living in Fairhaven? Woo!
Yeah.
The biggest job that I have in my space right now is teaching young children about how to stand up for themselves, how to come in solidarity, and be anti-bias, anti-racist warriors in our community in New Haven, Connecticut. Stephanie could have definitely been me. She could have been me, and Paul could have been my husband. And it doesn't matter if she was in her car at 4:19, whatever it was in the morning. We should not be thinking about what time she was there, but thinking about why these cops had the power to go and gun them down the way that they did. It is unacceptable that we have an agency, an institution in New Haven called Yale University that continues to be silent around this issue.
Right.
It is unacceptable that black and brown people in this city have to fear the police. One day, last year, my child was so afraid of the police, I had to go up in my own fear and go to the police and tell him, please, talk to my son. Please tell them that you are here to serve this community. You are not here to make my child feel unsafe. If you are working with children, they need to understand what is going on. They are not young, they are not too young for this kind of conversation. Because you know what? Black and brown children have to have these conversations. So if you have white children in your families, you need to tell them about the atrocities that are happening to the black and brown community. The day gon' come when I won't march no more. The day gonna come when I don't march no more. But while my sister ain't equal and my brother ain't free, hand in hand with my family, we gon' build these streets. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to introduce community organizer for Justice for Jason. Jason the Grown was gunned down May 9, 2017 by the hands of Bridgeport Police Department. Can I hear you say, Justice for Jason?
Justice for Jason!
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Jarrell!
Justice for Jarrell!
Justice for Zoe!
Justice for Zoe!
Justice for Caleb!
Justice for Caleb!
Justice for Noah!
Justice for Noah!
Justice for Corbin!
Justice for Corbin!
Justice for Monique Hayes!
Justice for Monique Hayes!
Justice... I'm sorry, man. So many countless names of people been gunned down by police. Just want to recognize and say their names. Next, we're going to have Jania Fool for Justice, a community organizer from Justice for Jason talk.
Thank you, Carrie. Carrie's lost her voice. This institution that is Yale and the two police forces that converge on this city. So many lethal forces converge on this city. I have been at Yale for 7 years. Everything is wrong about this institution. Everything is wrong. Sometimes because there are fancy names, powerful words, beautiful buildings, we forget what's really ugly. And I want to say it's really easy when we see white supremacists marching through Charlottesville to say, that's white supremacy, that's evil, that's hate, that's violence. But this is this institution. It's just buried in books and paper and nice suits and power that actually hide what this place is. The white supremacy here is even more sick than the white supremacy that marched through Charlottesville. White supremacy, we have to say that word, because white supremacy and policing go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. They require each other. They need each other. Capitalism, all of this, they're all embedded, right? They're linked. You can't get rid of one without getting rid of the other. And so Peter Salovey, who has been sending out truly these horrifying emails, what kind of person is this person? What kind of person is this person? If his family were brutalized every day the way that his police force and New Haven Police Department brutalized the people of this city, these things would be disbanded tomorrow. So when we talk about abolition, that is not some abstraction or a pipe dream. That is a necessity. That is a necessity. And if his own children were being beaten, ticketed every day, sent to the criminal justice system, he'd have a very different idea about what's happening. I think today I just woke up and I'm thinking, you know, we're gonna get this officer fired, we're gonna get justice for Stephanie and Paul, and we are. But what happens after that?
Right.
What happens after that?
Right.
Because the system is still intact.
Right.
So then what do? We just wait until the next time someone is brutalized? Next time someone might be killed.
Right.
We don't want to wait for that moment.
Right.
We don't want to wait for that moment. So I don't really feel like there's any other solution than to get rid of this police department and every police department. And to think about systems. We don't need this violence. I feel unsafe when I see these cops all around our city with their weapons, their guns, their cars, their canines that they brought yesterday. We can't take this. There's no way of reforming these people. I just want to make that clear. Okay? Just a little bit of history. What is the origin of police? Police were created in this country to catch runaway slaves. Absolutely. I'm not joking. This history is clear. Okay? They were created to catch runaway slaves, remove indigenous people from their lands, and to police the poor. This is why you don't see cops all around the white suburbs. This is evidence. The evidence is everywhere, right? The evidence is, we don't need people to study this anymore to analyze it. This is what they are. Have they ever changed in their entire history? No. There's no such thing as reform. There is no such thing.
They just got more black and brown people.
Exactly. They just, you know what? In the 1960s, civil rights leaders thought the way of changing these police departments, let's get diversity and inclusion. That did not work. That did not work. It doesn't matter how many black or Asian or brown police officers you have in these places. It's because they serve white supremacy. They serve power. They serve wealth. So there's no way. There's no way. This is what they prop up. This is what they prop up. Okay? So that's all I want to say today is that we just have to think about what we're working towards, okay? There's the things that we win today and the things that we need for our communities and the things we can do because we have power. But then there are the visions that we need to work towards and devote our life towards for the long term, right? Thank you so much.
Can we also say justice for Kuda?
Justice for Kuda!
Justice for Sean?
Justice for Sean!
Next, Jesus asked me to introduce him as Jesus, but Jesus is one of my inspirations as a community organizer. So y'all are blessed today to hear his words. I'm gonna call Jesus up. Jesus has been doing amazing organizing in this city and in this state. And I just want y'all to recognize that.
I will try to be very brief because there is very little to say that has not been said. The pain, the suffering that our community is going through, it's more than tangible. We see it, we hear it, we feel it. What are we gonna do about it? I want to make a call for solidarity. As Carrie said, I do some organizing here and there. Mainly around immigration. And I want to say, especially to my Latino folks, we're not exempt. Because that same violence and aggression, that same oppression that has Stephanie Washington in the hospital fighting for her life every damn minute is the same kind of violence that affects us all every single minute. It's the same kind of violence that has Nelson Pinos in a church half a block away from here. these forces are working for white supremacy. And our way of fighting that is to unite, to really show up for one another. A lot of y'all may think that because you are part of a precious institution such as Yale University, you may be exempt.
Right.
Don't fool yourselves.
Right.
The police will not ask, hey, where's your diploma from? They will not ask, hey, what was your GPA or your SAT score? And for that same reason, even though I love seeing so many faces and so much diversity in this crew, I want someone to tell me how many undergrads are in this institution. And I want someone to tell me how many are missing. I do praise you for coming here today, but I also want to ask you to call your classmates, your roommates, and tell them that they need to show the fuck up. They need to show up, because next time, and we know for sure that there will be a next time, unfortunately, it's a matter of time. Next time, it could be any one of us here. Again, they're not gonna stop and ask, where's your diploma? Or hey, my favorite, do you have a Yale ID with you? They're not gonna ask that. They're gonna say, they looked a little brown, I feared for my life. And we know that that is just enough so that they can get away with it. So, thank you.
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Stephanie!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Paul!
Justice for Nelson!
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 Next, I'm going to introduce another inspiration to me, Vanessa, who's an amazing community organizer and has been organizing in New Haven and across the state for undocumented folks and for their rights. Please welcome Vanessa.
Hey everyone, thanks for being here today. It really matters, every single one of you who are here. I'm really torn having to be here. I stayed up really late last night, reading over and over again the several articles, the reports that have come out about what happened to Stephanie. The way the mayor has talked about it, the way the Hamden police chief has talked about it, the way Peter Salovey has talked about it. I am disgusted. Shame on them!
Shame!
Shame on them! How dare they! Those police officers tried to murder her!
Yes, yes.
I will not call it anything other than that!
Right.
They wanted to murder her!
Right.
And they missed!
Yeah.
They almost goddamn killed her! They took a life! They almost tried to take a life! I am so sick and tired of that happening in New Haven, throughout our state, throughout this whole damn nation! These police just running around with guns, but they're the ones that are afraid of us for living, for existing. Seriously? I am so mad, and Peter Salovey hiding behind his email.
Where you at?
You will hear us. You will hear
We will not let them paint this for something that it's not. They tried to take lives away the other day. They didn't care.
Right.
I don't give a damn about what they say, their trainings, or they were afraid. Hell no.
Right.
Like my sister Jania said, we all know why these institutions exist. And it doesn't serve to protect our people. So I just want to let this be a reminder to Peter Salovey that we will continue to be out here making noise because we care about Stephanie. She don't need to be Yale affiliated. Her life matters. Black lives matter. And we will hold these officers accountable. We will continue to be out here. It matters. When they see all of us out here together, it really does. We know Peter won't come and say nothing until we force him to.
Right.
That's right.
We know how he acts. It is up to us, and I am so glad to see New Haven people out here with Yale students. We need more Yale students out here because they will hide behind their offices, be inside their buildings, away from us. Until y'all say something, until y'all keep reminding them that we will be here. We will keep organizing, working together. Because we will not let them hurt anyone else again. There's so much violence happening already. We didn't need them to take Stephanie's life away. We don't need them to take nobody's life away.
Right.
We don't need to wait till what happens next,
Right.
till things get worse.
Right.
So thank y'all for being out here today, and I hope to keep seeing y'all.
Next, I'm inviting Chris to speak. Chris represents the Party for Socialism and Liberation and is a part of our coalition. All these speakers who you heard who've been a part of our coalition.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Thank you all for coming out. I want everyone here to do me a favor. Get your phone out. Get on Facebook or Instagram or Snap or TikTok or whatever the hell it is you're using these days. And get 5 of your friends to come out here right now. Because I know there's more Yale students than this. I know there's more people that live in New Haven than this. So let's everyone get 5 friends to come out here right now. Tell them it's for justice. Tell them you're not going to hang out with them tomorrow night unless they come out here right now. But for real, we need to be questioning, why is it that Yale University, a private university, has a police department in the first place? Why do they get to walk around our city with guns and tasers and badges? We don't need them. Yale has already taken enough from this city. And Yale tried to take 2 precious lives from us the other morning. Yale should not be taking anything from us. Yale should be paying reparations to New Haven. Yale should be paving the streets in New Hallville in fucking gold. Yale should be building beautiful mansions and houses in the hill. Instead, for the people, not for them, for the people who live in the hill, and stop displacing people. Just thank you for making sure I was clear on that. Thank you. We do not need a Yale Police Department strolling down Dixwell Avenue, harassing people who are already being damaged by Yale. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if it's the Yale PD or the Hamden PD or the New Haven PD or East Haven or West Haven or whatever PD is out there. It doesn't matter which one it
it is, because they all serve the same purpose. Uh-oh. I think can you hear me?
Yes!
It doesn't matter! Oh, all right. Because I'm about to sound like Carrie in a minute here. It doesn't matter which police department it is, because they all serve the same purpose. What they don't realize is that there are more of us on our side. Literally, look around. There's more of us than there are of them. And they think that they're organized, and they think that they're strong, but they're just cowards, and we got the power. Look down on Whaley Avenue right now with that Stop and Shop. Look down on Dixwell on that Stop and Shop, and at every Stop and Shop in Connecticut and Rhode Island and Massachusetts. And what have they done? The workers have come together, and they have shut it down, and they're costing that company millions of dollars. Because they're standing together. And if we do the same thing, and if we do the same thing, then we will win! Woo! And that's what it's gonna take! It's gonna take shutting it down! Not just a few thousand Stop and Shop stores, but entire cities! Entire universities! Entire shopping districts and holidays and all of that matters to these people, but they tell us that we don't matter to them. So if we have to shut it down to get justice, then that's what we're gonna do. Are we asking for justice?
Yes.
No! We are demanding it, and we are taking it! Woo!
No justice!
No peace!
Then we could do louder than that. Let's let Peter Salovey hear what we're saying. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No Yale!
Police!
No Yale!
Police!
No Yale!
Police!
Next we're gonna have an OG organizer, Brother Norm, for Party for Socialism and Liberation. I know Norm. I know Norm be everywhere. Norm's gonna offer us some words.
Thank you, Carrie. I just want to see a show of hands. How many native people are out here? All right, I saw that seniors up there. I just want to mention that because this school is built on native land. This school is built on Quinnipiac land. And this school was built on the murder of Quinnipiac people.
That's right. Yes, it was.
And we're talking about going back 20 years to when Malik got murdered. Until when police departments were formed to catch slaves. I want to go back a little bit further. A little bit further. 527 years further. When Columbus supposedly landed on our country, on our nation, on Turtle Island. That's what we call it. This is Turtle Island. White supremacy started that day. And they still celebrate it. In our face, they celebrate it. Murder and rape and slavery started that day. I want to give a thanks and be grateful for the sacrifice that the Quinnipiac people gave
here. I was just looking at this building. It was built in 1701. The Quinnipiac were still here in 1701. And they had to look at things like this being built on their land. And they could do nothing about it because they were put on a reservation. And their children were taken away from them. And it hasn't stopped since that day to today. And it's not gonna stop until we do something about it. Till we drive these people out of these lands. We tear down these ivory towers. We drag Salivay out and make them listen to us. We have the power to do that. But we can't do it alone. We have to stand together.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot of the Yale kids that were out yesterday listened. And they went back and they got their friends.
Right. Sure did.
All right? Because there's a lot more of you out today.
Right.
You did some good work to get people out here today. And it's appreciated. We still need more.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kids you got in this school.
More than this.
A hell of a lot more than this, right? And we have a lot of schools around here with a hell of a lot more kids. I know that for a fact because this town is like basically empty when you're gone in the summer. And we love it. We have our, we don't have to worry about running us over. But I just want you to imagine. I want you to imagine for 1 minute. I want you to imagine for 1 minute. What would it look like if there was no video 2 days ago? What would that narrative have been? Right? There would have been straight up lies. First of all, they probably would have magically been armed.
Right. Magic.
Secondly, they would have been the armed suspects, right? And they would have been arrested for all those charges, that armed robbery, whatever else they could stick on them, resisting arrest, you know, injuring a police officer. The Yale cop that got shot would have been pinned on them also. And they'd be in prison for probably the rest of their lives.
Everybody look at
for attempting to murder a police officer. So when we see things like this happen, we don't need a video. I don't need a fucking video. I know what's happening on these streets. People are being brutalized every fucking day.
Talk about it.
All right? People are being brutalized every single day. The New Haven administration and whoever is running City Hall and whoever is running this university want us to believe that these guys standing behind us over here are a friendlier police department, and we don't do those types of things. That's bullshit! I'm so tired. I am really tired of having to come out here and explain the system that we live under. As Jania said, it's white supremacy. It's ramping itself up because they're afraid of what they see out here. Right? They're afraid. When they look and see black and brown faces standing with white people, they are afraid.
Yes, they are.
Should be.
And they should be. You're right, they should be. And they will be a lot more afraid the more we can get people out here. I don't know about you, but I want them shaking in their fucking boots. I want them not being able to sleep at night. That's what I want, because people out here, their parents of Stephanie and Paul,
That's right.
have sleepless nights.
That's right.
That's right.
They worry about their kids every single minute that they're out on these streets.
That's right.
We gotta get together, folks. We gotta stay together. If you like any of these organizations that are representing this rally today, get in touch with one of them. Become a part of something. You can't do this on your own. We can't do this on our own. We need organization. Look how fucking organized they are. Look at how fucking organized they are. Right? That's what we gotta fight against. Say her name!
Stephanie Washington!
Say his name!
Paul Witherspoon!
Say her name!
Stephanie Washington!
Say his name!
Paul Witherspoon!
Next we have Jeremy Caigas, who is a community organizer and a leader of the citywide youth coalition. Jeremy helped to organize and led the organizing for a student walkout here in New Haven from the New Haven Public Schools. Jeremy helps to organize queer youth in the city. And it's amazing. I just want a big round of applause for Jeremy Caigas.
No justice.
No peace!
No justice.
No peace!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
I'm gonna be real quick. I believe that if we do not dismantle the systems that were set to dismantle us, you damn right we've lost. We need to get together. We need to fight. We need to shut this city down, and we need to fight every day and night. We need to tear this system down. There is no reform. We need to just do away with it and start over. That is all.
Next, we're gonna introduce a sister who heard our call yesterday when we occupied in front of President Peter's house. He's not my president, actually. This sister, Samantha Grayman, is a black Yale law student. And I just want to, for a moment before I bring this sister up to share her powerful words, just want to recognize the solidarity between the black and brown communities here and the black students here, undergrad and graduate students at Yale. Because we know that you are also harassed by the police in the city. We know that this is not an issue that only affects our communities, but yours as well. And we stand in solidarity with y'all. I just want to make that clear. The dangers we face around violent policing is the same danger you face. This Yale institution does not protect you. We know this. We are with you. Know this. The grassroots social justice community in New Haven stands with you. We want you to stand with us. And we thank you for being here in particular.
We love you.
We love you. I'm going to call Samantha Grayman up, and I just want to give her a big, big, big round of applause for helping us to lead this today.
All right, hey y'all, I'm Samantha, and I stand here today with 2 other Black law students. With me today, I have Diane Lake, former BOLSA president, Black Law Students Association president, and TJ Grayson, the incoming Black Law Students Association president. So let's give a round of applause for them. So first of all, I just want to say that this call to us as Yale students today is very important. And I want to take a moment before I say anything for us to just take a few minutes, look around, introduce yourself to the person next to you. I'd really like this to be a community building effort. We're about to start a community-led conversation with Yale students. So first, take a few minutes and just say hello to people next to you, and then, I'll get back on here in a second. But I'd like to say a few words now. And I want to start by saying that I wore this sweatshirt on purpose today because I think it represents something very meaningful. So as the community organizers, so lovely put out, there are some commonalities that Black students in general experience at Yale that also our community members experience here in New Haven. But at the same time, we also benefit off of Yale as an institution, which is why I wear this shirt, because just as a little example, lovely Lolade, who, obviously, I don't know if she wants to be put on spot right now, but let's get, was able to get CBS National News to come out tonight. And, yes, thank you, Lolade. I just want to point out that is a privilege. That is a privilege, because these stories are often not on national news. And our community organizers work tirelessly every day. Every day. We're out here today, and some of us were out here yesterday, but they work every day. And don't get it twisted. They also have other obligations. They have families. They have jobs, full-time jobs. And they're out here every day. So finals is not an excuse, I'm sorry. If you care about justice, finals is not an excuse. Of course, mental health is important, and I always acknowledge that. But I just also want to acknowledge that our community organizers are tired too. They're tired. They're tired, and they're triggered. This is hurtful. Thank you. This is harmful. But they're still out here every day. So can we just give one more round of applause to the community organizers? So, my call to you all today is to take this call for help and take it seriously. Reach out to your friends. Come out here tomorrow. Come out here the next day. Post on social media. Make the demands heard and be loud about it. I know it's tiring. Trust me. I'm a law student. I have a lot of shit going on in my life. I know it's tiring, but this matters more to me. And I think that for all of you out here, I think that it probably matters more to you too. So, act on that. Act on that feeling. I want to just hand it over really quickly to TJ, because TJ is going to read a little statement that the Black Law Students Association put out today to our wider community at Yale. And afterwards, I'm going to speak a little bit about some action items that we can continue to take throughout the rest of our time here. And I also want to open up the floor to a bunch of people who had said that they wanted to speak today. So if you're on the group chat and you wanted to speak, please make your way up front. We'll have those people speak first, and then we welcome any community member who wants to say anything, because this is a conversation that we've started. It doesn't end today, it starts today. As we said, CBS News is on its way. So we want to wait before we march eventually to the other location, which is... Oh, okay, I will announce that afterwards. We'll be marching to another location, and we're waiting for CBS. So if you all could keep out here and keep the numbers lively, that's really important because this story needs to make national news.
Yes.
So before I get to this statement, I want to get a little personal with y'all. Is that all right?
Yes. Personal, just
a few years ago, my uncle was shot 3 times by a police officer for driving with a suspended license. And by shot, I don't mean bullets fired. This officer went through every bullet in his gun, reloaded, and continued to shoot my uncle for driving with a suspended license. I wrote a whole ass personal statement about the trauma this inflicted on my uncle, my family, myself, just to have this university use my tuition dollars to inflict the same state-sanctioned violence, the same university-sanctioned violence on students like myself. That's not all right. That's not all right. My story is too common for students here at Yale University. Too common for students in the halls of Yale Law School that I go through every single day. And yet we're the ones with privilege. We are still the privileged members of this community. Think of everyone else out here.
Yes, we are.
We're still out here having the cops called on us by our fellow students, being held at gunpoint by the very university officers our tuition funds, and we are still the privileged members of this community.
Yes, we are.
Just let that sink in. And so, going forward, we as students have an obligation to make sure something happens.
Yes, we do.
We are funding this.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are funding this.
Yes, we are.
It doesn't matter if it's Hamden Police, New Haven Police, or Yale University Police. We are a part of this problem. And I see a lot of my colleagues from the law school here today, but I do not see enough.
No, not enough.
I do not see enough. We not only have a personal obligation to make sure change happens, but we have an obligation to make sure our friends make that happen too. So going forward, I want to make sure that this community actually looks out for the black and brown students out here on this campus. For the black and brown community members that we all interact with. And if we don't, we need to.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes,
we need to.
Yes, TJ. Yes, TJ.
So this is just the beginning. We're going to keep holding each other accountable as we go forward until we actually see change. Thank you.
All right, really quickly before I get to the action items, I forgot there's something else I wanted to share with you all. So part of this, like I said, is a conversation. So I'm hoping that we can all share some information. And one of the reasons why I would love to see more law students here is that not only is it the #1 law school in the country, let's just let that sink in for a second. The #1 law school in the country is right down there, yet we see no justice. And of course, law has never really been synonymous with justice. We know that. We know slavery was legal. We know all these stories that we could tell about how the law never really fully equated to justice. We know that. But at the same time, just like TJ, I know a number of law students who applied to that school, to that very building, with these stories of caring about justice. But I don't see a lot of those students out here today, and that's shameful. To me, that's shameful because we have resources that we can share with the community, and we're not doing that. We do some of that. We have Know Your Rights trainings. We have some great, obviously we have the legal observers here today. Great work that's being done, but I'm just saying it's not enough. It's not enough. Not from the #1 law school in the country. That's not enough. Don't even get me started talking about the administration and what they, I'm not even going to get onto that. Students alone, we have power too, and we're not doing enough. So I wanted to share some information. As you all probably got in the email from Peter Salve, he said that after the criminal investigation concludes, Yale will be doing its own investigation, right? So obviously that information wasn't shared with the wider New Haven community, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. So Yale will investigate this incident through its own policies and procedures, right? A lot of these administrative policies and procedures are very bureaucratic and just hard to understand. So it's really, it's a very dark system. We can't really get into the transparency or see what is actually going on in this procedure. But I will read to you all some of the policies that they have on their website that are open to the public, so that we can come to a judgment on our own as a community as to whether or not the police officer violated those policies, which I think after I read these, you'll see that it's very clear that the police officer violated Yale's policies and that they don't need to wait for the criminal investigation to conclude to fire the police officer, okay? So let me just go through these really quickly. So first of all, let's just read the mission statement of the Yale Police Department. The mission statement is, building on a century of service and achievement, we are dedicated to reducing and preventing crime, serving our community in partnership with the City of New Haven. That sounds interesting to me. Next are the values. And they explain what values are, so let's read this. Values are ethical statements of principle which bind us together as an organization. Values from the ethical basis from our decision making. And as a group and an organization, we subscribe to these values. The first value, integrity. Basing our decisions on what is legally and ethically right, safeguarding the legal rights, privileges, and dignity of all people. Let that sink in. That is the number one value of the Yale University Police Department. Number two, trust. Maintaining the highest level of trust and honesty with those we serve by holding ourselves to the highest standards of performance. Trust. Third is commitment. Exhibiting the spirit of determination and dedication that leads to professionalism and the achievement of excellence in every endeavor. And fourth, courage. Sustaining the mental, moral, and physical strength necessary to carry us through the challenges of policing. Now, does what happened to our fellow community members, Stephanie and Paul, sound like integrity?
No!
Trust?
No!
Commitment?
No!
Courage?
No!
Yeah, it doesn't sound like any of those to me either. Okay, so those were the values, right? Now let's get to the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics, by which the Yale Police Department officers have to abide. They have to. Let me read this. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. Does what happened to Stephanie and Paul sound like the police officer abided by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics?
No!
Okay, I didn't think so either. Now, I'd like you all to hear how the investigation will go down. So I think that based off our own judgment and the video footage that we all saw, it seems like the police officer clearly not only violated Yale policy, but also the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics, and thereby should be fired, right? Okay, so let me tell you how they're going to come to this determination, which unfortunately they most likely won't. Because as you'll see, and as I read these policies, there's no accountability. There is no outside accountability for the Yale Police Department. They get to determine how to run their investigation, and they get to determine on a closed, private basis whether or not to discipline the police officer. So, first, the investigation will be conducted by the professional standards officer or a supervisor assigned by the chief. Okay, so basically the chief gets to pick whoever gets to do this investigation, which sounds kind of like bullshit to me, so that's great. All right. Lastly, I'm not going to go through all the steps with you, but lastly, so the chief gets to choose who does his investigation. The completed administrative investigation shall be submitted to the chief of police, who will determine compliance with the department's use of force policy. So basically, the chief of police gets to decide whether or not this Yale police officer is held accountable for his violent use of force, shooting 12 times on an innocent woman, 22-year-old woman who was just sitting in a car. Does that sound right to you?
No!
It does not sound right to me. It sounds like bullshit to me. Does that sound like bullshit to you?
Yes!
Okay, well, as Yale members, it is our duty not only to call on these demands that we are calling for today, but to stay vigilant with this process. Because they do have the discretion, they have the power to transfer this to an outside body. They don't have to go through the administrative proceeding. They will, most likely, but they don't have to. So as we continue with these protests, I say that as Yale students, we also stay vigilant of our own body, our own policies that are being, once again, promulgated by the departments at our university, where our tuition dollars go towards. Stay vigilant. Share resources. Yale Law students, please share these resources with other students. Share these resources with community members. Share information. Okay? That is my only call, because we really, truly have to work together. I want to again highlight the fact that community organizers were here for Yale students to change the name of Calhoun College. Can we just literally remember that for a second? It has always been our time to stand up and support our community members. It has always been our time, but now is really the time. Now is the time. It's an opportunity to change the pattern of Yale benefiting off of New Haven and not doing shit about it and not contributing back to the community that we literally learn in, or we literally learn in at the university, at the law school. You also get to practice law as a non-attorney with New Haven residents. So you're not only learning in the classroom and learning and living around here, you're literally getting to use the New Haven residents for your own legal education. Give back, okay? Just give back. Well, let's do that. Thank you.
My name is Jordan.
My name is Hannah.
We are first years at Yale Law School. This semester, we have been researching the history of racism at Yale Law School. We've heard a lot of people here talking today about the history of policing both in our country and specifically in Connecticut and New Haven, and we're here to share with you more information that we've been uncovering this semester.
You already know this history, so we're just going to go over a few points. As you know, Yale has a long history of using its police force and criminal laws written and passed by Yale graduates to inflict violence on people of color in New Haven.
There are two historical examples we want to share that are especially relevant to why we are standing here today.
Especially in front of President Salavy's office tonight. Like President Salovy, in 1811, Timothy Dwight, the 8th president of Yale, who a residential college is named after, published a report called A Statistical Account of the City of New Haven. In his report, Dwight describes the use of the death penalty, the people executed, and the quote-unquote crimes they committed. To no surprise to us, the first person killed by the state was a member of the Pequot tribe who was hung for some of his conduct in the Pequot War. He was executed in 1639. Let's be clear. What Dwight refers to as the Pequot War was the indigenous resistance to white New England's colonization efforts. The next person killed was a black woman who, quote, cut the throat of her master's daughter at Wallingford, apparently with the hope that she might cease to be a slave and return, as she said, to her own country.
This history makes it clear to us that Black people and Native people have repeatedly been victimized by the laws of New Haven, Connecticut, and this country. Yale knew, we know, these laws were designed deliberately and intentionally to quell resistance from people of color.
The second piece of history is from the Yale Corporation records. On July 27, 1858, the Yale Corporation voted to keep out from the college premises and buildings all persons having no right to enter the college grounds and to employ policemen for that purpose. The corporation also authorized the college president to prosecute these people for trespass should they violate the order. Someone scribbled the words beggars on college grounds in the margins of these corporation meeting notes. Beggars on college grounds. This is just one example of how Yale characterized people not affiliated with the institution. This is the justification it gave for their criminal prosecution. Justice for Stephanie and Paul requires us to hold Yale and Yale's police force accountable to its history of race-based policing. It also requires each of us who pay tuition to Yale, who profit from Yale's names on our resumes, to address the continuation of this violence today. We join demands for access to the video, the demilitarization of the police in Yale and in Connecticut, and reparations. Reparations. For the harm Yale has caused and continues to commit. Thank you.